Now, let's talk about the trigonometrical ratios of negative angles. For instance, if I'm required to find the sine of negative 60 degree, how do I check this? The cosine of negative 120 degree, how do I check this? And the tangent of negative 210 degrees, how do I find all these angles? Now, the basic thing is that the reason why you are having a negative sign with this angle simply means that you want to check this angle in the opposite direction of the way we've been checking it earlier. You will remember that I have told you earlier that for all the angles that we've been looking for, tan 30, cos 70, and so on and so forth, we said they are being read in this direction, anti-clockwisely. This is the way we've been looking at them, anti-clockwisely. Now, but for negative angles, this is still going to be our starting point. But this time around, we don't read it in this direction anti-clockwisely. We now read it in the clockwise direction. So, for angles that are negative, when we are looking for them, instead of us to read them this way, we read them this way. So now let me show you how to find the sign of sine negative 60. This is what we are going to do. All I have to do is to look for 60 downwards this way, to check angle 60 downwards. So this is 60 degrees downward. Can you see that now? 60 degrees downward. So no doubt, sine negative 60 is in the fourth quadrant. Do you see? Is in the fourth quadrant. But which angle is equivalent to this? You remember that when we were solving the previous one, it implies that sine negative 60 degree is the same as what? As the negative of sine 60. Because we have found out that in the fourth quadrant, the sign of all angles are what? Are negative. So, which means that if I were to read it this way, that means the angle should have taken me to 300 degrees. That means having sine negative 60 is the same as having sine 300 degree. If I read it from this place, can you see that now? And what is sine 300 degree? Sine 300 degree, we have seen that sine 300 degree is the same as the negative of sine 60 degree. Can you see this now? And all I just have to check is find the negative of sine 60 degree. But what about if we were required to find the cosine of negative 60 degree? That means we are still reading it in this direction. But what is that 60? That particular angle, we know that the cosine here is positive. So it is going to be the same as cos 60. And if we are looking for the tangent of negative 60, it's going to be the same as the negative tan 60. Because for all angles that fall inside here, it is only the positive, the cos, that is positive. Now let's check the next one, cos 120 degree. It implies that I will keep reading again from this direction. And you see that that 120 will take me into the third quadrant. Because I would have read 90, I'll take away 90 from it and have extra what? Extra 30. You see this 120 degree, the negative 120 degree that I'm looking for. Then I will look for the inverse of it on this side, which is going to give me, when you take away 230 from 270, I'm going to have 240. What it implies is that 120 I've been asked to find, it is the same as the cosine of 240. So this now is equal to cos 340 degree. And 340 degree falls in the third quadrant. The third quadrant here now, what is the acute angle inside there? The acute angle inside there should be 60. All I just have to do, like you remember, is to take away that theta. Take away 180 degrees from the theta. So if from here to here, I have 240 degrees, take away that 180 from here, from it. That means that the cos of negative 120 degrees is equal to the cos of 240, which is equivalent to the cos of 60 degrees. And because of it falls in the third quadrant, this angle has to be negative. So I just have to check cos 60 degrees and add the negative sign to it to get my negative, cos negative 120. Then for the next one, what if it was sine? If it is sine negative 120 would also mean the same thing as negative sine 60. Why is it going to be negative sine 60? Because of the same reason why cos is 60 here. That's the same reason why sine is going to be 60. But the problem is that in this third quadrant, sine is not positive, so it has to be negative. Then the same thing, let's now look at tan. Tan negative 120. We would not forget that in this quadrant, tan is positive. So which means that I'll just have to check for tan 60 degrees. So if you point your calculator, you will see that the tan of this angle and the tan of this angle are the same. Then finally, if I'm looking for tan 210 minus 210 degrees, this will be an angle that has taken me up to this level, whereby I would have gone beyond 180 degrees downward here, then plus another 30 degrees over here. Can you see that now? And if you remember what we talked about here, we said for the tan of angles that are inside here, so that's tan negative 210 degrees is going to be the same as the tangent, the negative of tan 30 degrees, because it has fallen into the what? The second quadrant. What about sine negative 210 degrees? We have seen that reading it backwardly here, we have gotten to what? We have gotten to the second quadrant. And sine here is positive, so we have sine 30. It's going to be the same as sine 30. Then lastly, if we take it down again, back here for the cosine, we already know that cosine in the second quadrant is also negative. So we have negative cos 30 degrees. And this is what we just have to check in our table to find what these values are. You can see that so far, these things are not so hard, are they? No, they are not. All we just have to do is to practice more so that we can get it better. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have learned something today. I urge you to keep practicing mathematics so that you can understand it better. See you later.